ઓકે, ચિંતાબેન, પ્રકાશબેન.
હા, થયું. આદેશ આપજો.
પ્રકાશબેન.
इच्छामि खमासमु वन्दिं जम्बुजा निसीया मथे वन्दामि इच्छा कारण संधिस्य भगवान इर्यावयं पडिकमामि इच्छामि पडिकम्यो इर्यावयाय विराणाय गमना गमने पान कमने बिय कमने हरिय कमने ओसावती गफण गदग मटी मकड़ा संताना संकमणे जेमे जीवा विराया एगेंदिया बेंदिया तेंदिया छोरेंदिया पंचेंदिया बिहाया बत्तिया लेसिया संगाया संगटिया परियाविया किलामिया उदव्या ठाणं संकाम्या जीव्या उग्रोव्या तस्मिच्छामि दुक्कडं तसौत्रीकरणं पायचितकरणं विसोहि करणं विसली करणं पावाणं कमाणं निगायण ठायठामि कौसरम् अनत्थ उसस्येणं निसस्येणं खास्येणं छेणं जम्बायणं मुडवेणं वायनी सगणं बवनीय पितमुछाय सुहुमें अंग संचालेहिम सुहुमें खेल संचालेहिम सुहुमें डिठी संचालेहिम एवमाई एहिम आगारेहिम अपगो विरायो उज्जमे कौसगो यावरियंताणं भगवंताणं नमो कारणं न पारेमी ताव कायम ठाणेणं मोणेणं जाणेणं एक लोगसनो कौसक न आवडे तो 4 नौकार अप्पाणं मोसीरामी लोगो सौजोगरे धम्म तिथिरे जने अरियंते कीते सम 24 संपी केवली उसभमजियं च वन्दे संभवम अभिनन्दं च सुमयं च पौमपं सुपासं जिनं च चन्दकहं वन्दे सोहिं च पुष्पदन्तं स्यल सीजं सवासु पूजं च विमलमनन्तं तजनं दमं सन्तिं च वन्दामि कुन्तुमरं च मली वन्दे मुनि स्वयं च नमि जिनं च वन्दामि रिट्ठनेमि पासं तः वर्धमानं च एवमे अभिथुवा विहुय रमेला पैण जर्मणा 24 संपिजिनवरा तिथय रामे पश्यन्तु कीर्तिय वंदीय मैया जे लोग सतमा सिदा आरुग बोईलापम समाहिवर मूतमम देन्तु चंदेसु निमला यरा ऐचेसु अहम पयासयरा सागरवर गंभीरा सिद्धा सिद्धि मम दिसन्तु नौकार नमो हरिहंताणं नमो सिद्धाणं नमो आयरियाणं नमो वज्जाणं नमो लोये सब सावणं एसो पंच नमुकारो सव पावपणासनो મંગળાનંચ સવેસીમ પડમં હવૈ મંગલમ. આપણે આ સુર સામાયિકની શરૂઆત થઈ હવે.
ઘણો ઘણો આભાર ચેતનાબેન.
યા, થેન્ક યુ પ્રદીપભાઈ.
અને અંતમંગળ પછી 3 નવકાર ભણી લેવા.
હા.
Hello?
Hello, Miko.
Hi.
Hey, how does it look for your dad? We may have about 10 minutes, Girishbhai.
Okay, I'll play something.
Yeah.
Is Gujarati okay?
Sukhidev?
Is Gujarati okay?
That's fine.
Yeah, yeah, you can. You still have that Anand ki gadi aayi?
And yes.
Yeah,
try
go
that?
for that.
Okay.
It awakens everybody. Those two guys are pretty powerful.
No, I'm playing something different, Pradeep.
All right.
જ્ઞાનાનંદ સ્વરૂપી છું. મને સાતા નથી ને અસાતા નથી, હું તો પરમાનંદ સ્વરૂપી છું. હું તો પરમાનંદ સ્વરૂપી છું. હું આત્મા છું. હું આત્મા છું. હું રાગી નથી ને દ્વેષી નથી, હું તો મોહ કર્મથી જુદો છું. હું તો મોહ કર્મથી જુદો છું. હું આત્મા છું.
This way. Yeah, yeah.
તો નિર્મળ નિર્વિકારી છું.
સ્ત્રી નથી ને પુરુષ નથી, હું તો નિર્મળ નિર્વિકારી છું.
હું ત્રસ નથી ને સ્થાવર નથી, હું તો નામ કર્મથી જુદો છું.
તો નામ કર્મથી જુદો છું. હું આત્મા છું, હું આત્મા છું.
મન વચન કાયા તે મારા નથી, હું અલખ નિરંજન આત્મા છું.
મન વચન કાયા તે મારા નથી, હું અલખ નિરંજન આત્મા છું.
હું નાનું નથી ને મોટું નથી, હું અગુરુ લઘુ ગુણ સ્વામી છું.
લઘુ ગુણ સ્વામી છું. હું આત્મા છું, હું આત્મા છું.
Oh, Girishbhai is here. જય જય ગિરીશભાઈ.
હા, જય જિનેન્દ્ર. નમો યંતાણમ નમો સિદ્ધાણમ નમો આયર્યાણમ નમો વજ્રાયાણમ નમો લોએ સવસાહુણમ એસો પંચનમુખારો સર્વપાવપણાસણો મંગલાણં ચ સર્વેસિં પરમં હવૈ મંગલમ. અજ્ઞાનતિમિરાંધાનાં જ્ઞાનાંજનશલાકયા ચક્ષુરુન્મીલિतं येन તસ્मै શ્રીગુરવે નમઃ. જય જિનેન્દ્ર. આપણે શિબિરના પહેલા દિવસની બીજી સેશન meditation, journey within, અને we are in the chapter number 2, અને page number 9. The sequence that is described here is very important. Unless and until we follow that sequence, or we experience that sequence, or we master that sequence, it's very difficult. In fact, it is impossible to achieve the ultimate Dhyan Dasha. And the ultimate Dhyan Dasha also will help you achieve self-realization. So the first one is state of diminished thoughts. So basically, as a human being with the attribute of mind, the thoughts are going to be natural. What we have to here establish and understand, and then establish that thought in itself is not damaging as much as the resulting, or rather associated attachment, aversion, and ego with the thought. So if we focus on attachments, aversions, and ego, automatically the thoughts are going to be diminished. So here now we are getting the how do we do that? It is the state where thoughts laced, the important word is laced, which means it is attached with, it is followed by, it is with thoughts, not only on its own, but thoughts with attachments, aversions, and attachment and aversions, which is raga and dvesh, emanates from ego. So if you surrender your ego to the Supreme Being or to Sadguru, then your attachment and aversions or rag or dvesh automatically will go on diminishing. If you understand this, and if you can practice this, I think you will probably be able to achieve the equanimity that is our nature. It is delusional to think that emotions or thoughts laced with attachments or aversion arise in us due to external situations. The thing which is foreign to us, thing which is external to us, cannot affect us unless and until we allow it to be affected. We allow those affection and those attachments and aversions. Otherwise, they cannot come. We give permission. We give permission to all this attachment and aversion feeling, and we welcome them. If you close the door, they won't come. In order to close the door, you have to diminish the importance of your own ego. Ego is the one which attracts. And as the ego gets diminished by practice, by surrendering, then the attachments and the aversions are going to be more and more diminished, more and more not affecting you. The actual cause is our own lack of inner purity. Now, inner purity is affected by our previous karma. Whatever we have done in the past, that come to fruition, and that is affecting our purity. Now, you don't let that happen, then it will just go away. Don't attract them. Don't invite them. Don't welcome them. Just watch them. Just watch. As if it's happening to someone else. Anything happens to your neighbor, you merely watch. You don't get affected by that. That's how you should just watch. So you become the watcher on the hill. A person who is on the top of the hill can watch everything going on in the bottom of the hill, but is not affected by it. So the first requirement or first thing you can do, or first thing which will be important in order to realize this thing, have self-realization, is be a watcher on the hill. There's a book called Watcher on the Hill. If you get hold of it, read it. Gives you a lot of practical solutions, practical ways how you can do that. When an adverse incident occurs, thoughts laced with aversion arise, and we are awash with thoughts such as, why did they do this? Why do such things happen only to me? And why not? You need to ask that question. Why not? Because nothing can happen to you unless and until you have done something in your previous life or previously or before, which has resulted into this situation. So you are responsible. Take the responsibility. Whatever happens to you, take the full responsibility. And when you take the full responsibility, you will stop blaming others and other situations and other objects, other people. And that way you can control your ego. Take responsibility. You are responsible for your own happiness and misery. Nobody else is responsible for that. This is the law of karma. This is the universal law. This is the law of the universe. If you don't accept it, you are miserable. You're going to be miserable. You're going to be unhappy. If you accept it, you'll be happy. That is called kshin vritti. Here, the Tirthankar has shown us the path of absolute acceptance. Means you accept your responsibility. You are responsible. Nobody else is responsible for your whatever is happening to you, or your happiness or your misery. You are the one who is responsible. જ્ઞાની એમ કહે છે કે અમે કર્મ બાંધ્યા છે, અમે અમારે ભોગવવાના છે. That means we have done something wrong in the past, so that's what we are right now experiencing the fruits of those things that we did. Once you start taking responsibility, most of your miserable situations are going to be completely, first of all, understood, and then it won't affect you. Accept everything that is happening. Absolute acceptance is the most important constituent of the Tirthankar spiritual edict. Again, absolute. The word is absolute. No exceptions. Acceptance is the most important constituent of the Tirthankar's spiritual edict. Jo kasiya ahisaye so bhikkhu. Bhagavan Mahavir says, who is my bhikkhu? Who is my follower? My follower is the one who accepts everything. Yeah.
Girishbhai, you may have to unmute yourself. I'm going to have to hard mute everybody. So there are no disturbances.
Yeah.
Okay. હવે તમે unmute થઈ જાઓ સાહેબ. બસ. Thank you.
So nobody was hearing what I said?
No. Somebody's mic was getting unmuted, occasional disturbance.
Oh, okay. Let's say an incident takes place. The infinite omniscience in their all-pervading knowledge, absolute knowledge, had already seen this incident happening at this particular time. And the incident happened exactly as they had seen it and perceived it. Are you going to deny that? Are you going to say that why did it happen? That means you are denying the all-pervading knowledge of an omniscient. Then you can't tell him, and you can tell that he's an omniscient. Sarvagna means omniscient, all-knowing. If he is all-knowing, then he also knows that this particular incident is going to happen at this particular time. Now you just cannot deny that. You accept it. It may be that you like it. It may be that you don't like it. Because if it is favorable to you, you will like it. If it is not favorable to you, you won't like it. But whatever the nature of the incident is, you just accept it. Because I believe in Tirthankar Paramatma. I believe in his all-knowing knowledge. I believe in his knowledge. I believe in him. So if you believe in him, then you should also accept what he has seen happening, what he is perceiving, that this is going to happen. Yeah. So shall we accept the knowledge of the omniscience or fight against the destined incident? If you fight at your own peril. If you accept it with grace, and you get the grace of the God. Absolute acceptance, a beautiful spiritual practice. One such incident from the scripture, Shipal Ras. Mayana Sundari, listen to this thing. Mayana Sundari stands at her wedding altar, holding the hand of her to-be husband, Shipal Kumar. Her ethereal beauty and charm makes Shipal no match for her at that time. As he stands there with stench emanating from his leprosy-inflicted body. Mayana Sundari's emotions in this situation. Can you imagine? You can't even imagine. Are beautifully captured in Sripal Ras. Mayana Mukha Navi Palatere. Nane Anshanal Ane Khed. Anshana Ane Khed. Gnani Nuditu Hovere. What is he saying? There isn't even a hint of change in Mayana Sundari's expressions, and she bears not even the slightest feeling of sorrow in her heart. Why? Because she firmly understands that things are happening exactly as seen by the omniscience. This is absolute acceptance. If we reach that stage of mind and existence, self-realization or samyak darshan is not very far. Here is another perspective that can help in attaining the state of diminished thoughts. Let's assume someone says something that makes you feel humiliated. Many times that happens and must have happened. You could either feel that the person humiliated you, or you could feel that the person was only a superficial instrument acting as a trigger for your previous karma. That is called nimitta. Therefore, it is not that person who caused this humiliation, but it is your own prior karma that caused it. So you take the responsibility. Either you take the responsibility and be at peace, or you fight and be miserable. With closed eyes, you can visualize this incident that occurred when Bhagavan Mahavir Swami was performing his spiritual practices prior to attaining omniscience. A man in the state of ignorance is hammering nails in Bhagavan Mahavir Swami's ears, tearing through his flesh. At such a moment of anguish and pain, the Lord's eyes well up with tears of compassion. Not of pain, but of compassion. He thinks, this incident is the result of my own prior karmas. This man is actually enabling me to eliminate those karmas. Those karmas were from the past life of Tripushta Vasudeva, when he poured hot lead in the ears of the musician. And that musician is become this Gowar, this man. And he is taking that karma to its fruition. But in his fit of rage, the man must be accumulating new karmas of his own. This is the cause of Bhagavan's compassion. As a result of this, will he be condemned to lower realms of birth, which is Narak, hell, where there is nothing but suffering? And that thought brought tears in Bhagavan's eyes. Can you imagine even? So if somebody is insulting you, he's also committing a crime, karma, bad karma, which he's going to suffer from it. But at the same time, he's helping you get rid of your karma that you had it previously when you were ignorant. This visualization is very moving. You could pray and tell the Lord, if I were to imagine nails being hammered in my ears, I would be unable to bear even that imaginary agony, let alone the actual pain. In fact, I am not even ready to bear being slapped on my face. Dear Lord, please at least give me the strength to lovingly accept the bitter words entering my ears. Can we at least do this? This is another path to attaining the state of diminished thoughts. Maintaining equanimity during the fruition of prior karmas. This is important, maintaining equanimity during the fruition of prior karma. Those karmas were committed by me, and I am now facing them, my own karma. There is also a third way to achieve the state of diminished thoughts. In discussions, I often ask the audience. This is I means Gurudev. Gurudev is saying it. That he asks the audience, if someone hits you with a stick, it is likely that the back gets swollen. But what happens when someone says demeaning words to you? Do your ears get swollen? He hasn't hit you. Just the words. If someone hits you, the back gets more swollen. But if someone says something to you which you don't like it, does your ears get swollen? The response usually is not the ears, but the mind sure gets swollen, which means my ego gets swollen. Right? That's what happens. Why were such words told to me? And a chain of thoughts commences. The spiritual practice of being aware in the present moment, called Vartamana Yoga. Vartamana means present. Yoga means whatever happens, I accept. Will help the seeker here. One must understand that the incidence has already taken place. Incidence has already taken place. Now that moment has elapsed, and so has the incidence associated with that moment. Let's say someone insulted you at 4 p.m. The event is over after a minute. The event ceases to exist thereafter. What remains in existence is the dead body of that incidence. How long will you continue walking, carrying the burden of the dead body along? Being in the present, past is gone. The future hasn't come yet. You are only in present. The power of now. Vartaman Yoga. Events of the past have gone by. Why worry about events of the future? Now, just fill the present moment with Udasin Bhav. Udasin Bhav is a very, very dear word, a very precious word. Udasin means Utvata Asin, Upar uthine besu. That means you are above, sitting above what happened. Means watcher on the hill. Shankaracharya has said, Atitan anasandhanam bhavishadama vicharanam audasinyamapi prapte jivanamuktasya lakshanam. Who is a samikdrashti? Who is a samkiti? The one who is atita anusandhanam. The past is not anymore. Future hasn't come yet. You are only in the present. In the present moment, you are udasin, which means you are only the watcher on the hill. That person is Jivana Mukta, means the moksha is here. The other moksha will come later. But now, this moment, you are in moksha with this attitude. As such, this perspective of remaining in the present greatly simplifies our spiritual practice. It's very hard to achieve. very difficult to achieve. It requires a lot of practice and a lot of faith and a lot of devotion and a lot of surrender to the Gurudev and to the Paramatma. But you can achieve it. What you have with you is the present moment. You don't have the past. You don't have the future yet. All you have is present. So present is like you give present to somebody and they love it. This way, this present, to be in present, you give that present to yourself and you're going to love it. Try it. All that this particular practice demands is to fill that one moment with Udasin Bhav. You only live one moment. You cannot live in the past. You cannot live in the future. You only can live and love the present moment, present, the power of now. You're only here now. You already been in the past and you are not yet in the future. Is being aware in the present moment difficult at all? After this explanation, do you find it difficult? It's very easy. Forget about the past. Don't worry about the future. Just enjoy the moment. So forget about the past. Don't worry about the future. Enjoy the moment. A lovely excerpt from the sacred scripture Acharang Sutra. Khanam janami pandi. The one who knows the kshana, which means the present moment, is Gnani, Pandit. This can be literally translated as, the Tirthankar says, dear child, will you give me a moment of yours? Just a moment. And we should be happy. What a fortunate occasion for the seeker that the Lord is asking for something. And he's only asking for a moment. You can give moment, right? The seeker replies, you already own my entire life, sir. With utmost reverence, I hereby give you a moment. Right? We are ready. But in Acharang Sutra, the Lord has donned the role of a skilled preceptor. He's very skilled. Bada hoshiyar hai. How such preceptor deftly lifts us in is demonstrated here. Continuing the conversation, the Lord says, nice that you accept my invitation. You are an obedient child. We all like to be obedient to the Lord. I asked for a moment and you readily give it. But, dear child, I got a condition for you. Is it acceptable to give me a moment that is laced with impurities? No, Lord, I cannot give you anything impure. I have to give you a pure moment, which is not laced with attachment or aversions or ego. There you go. You achieve your self-realization. Is this that simple? That's easy. Isn't it? The seekers ask, oh Lord, kindly tell me what I should be doing then. The Lord says, give me a moment that has no shadow of impurities, such as attachments, aversions, or ego. Your awareness in that moment should be absolutely intact. And with that, the seeker begins the practice. He tries to immerse himself in any chosen pious activity for a minute, which are the means to achieve the end goal of self-realization. how easy it is. Why do you find it so difficult? This is what may happen. The first 50 seconds happen to be quite good, but at the 51st second of the minute, someone the seeker despises enters the room. If the feeling of aversion arises, the seeker will not be able to give this moment to the Lord. Correct? No. Say the seeker tries again and completely immerse the mind in the chosen pious activity. In case at the 58th second, if attachment or ego arises, that moment is yet again of no use. Now you see it's difficult, huh? So far you thought it was easy. And in this way, the seeker continues the practice until a minute without any impurities is obtained. But you know that you can do it. The simple yet powerful practice thus helps the seeker stay in the present. Because that is the first requirement. Thus, even this third method of attaining the state of diminished thoughts is equally enduring. The state of inner purity. The state of diminished thoughts results in a pure heart, which is the state of inner purity. It's known as Nirmal Avastha. No malinta, no impurities. This is such a great gift from the Lord, but only a seeker who has attained the state of diminished thoughts can truly receive this gift from the Lord. In this absence of thoughts laced with attachments and aversions, it is not the absence of thoughts, it's the absence of thoughts which are laced with aversion and attachment and ego. So thoughts are okay, but attachment and aversions and ego is not acceptable, because they are not you, they are not yourself. That's not pure self. In the absence of thoughts laced with attachments and aversions, where is the scope for impurities such as attachment or aversions to exist? The Tirthankar has said in the scripture Uttaradan Sutra that only a guileless seeker can be endowed with a pure heart, and that true spirituality can exist only in a pure heart. Guileless. Ujju, which means saral, simple. So he ujju bhos dhammo suddhas chittai. Now comes the state of meditation. The meditation according to Jain darshan is so different than the meditation that is practiced elsewhere. Those are these two major things, major requirements, major qualifications that we discussed just now is required for achieving true meditation. Once the seeker has reached the state of diminished thoughts and the state of inner purity, those are the two things. Unless and until we reach there, or unless and until we have that, the meditation will be only in the name. It will not do what it is supposed to do to a seeker. The next step is meditation. So you see, meditation is not the first step, it's the third step. Single-minded concentration on the attributes of the Lord. That's called meditation. That's the definition according to Webster. It is such a delightful sequence, a mind with vastly reduced thoughts of attachments, aversions, and ego. You can have a lifetime to achieve this, sometimes many lives. But you have to achieve that if you want to achieve or if you want to attain true meditation, true dhyan. Dhyan is the 11th number in 12 tap. So you have to go through 6 external, 3 inner, and 1 fourth one, inner tap. Then you achieve dhyan. Yo. A pure heart and mind, and a concentrated, still mind. Reduction in impure thoughts leads to an inner state of purity, which in turn enables concentration. Why can't we concentrate on one thing? Because our mind wanders all around the world. This concentration is referred to as meditation. You see, now you know the meaning of meditation. So now it will be easier for you to understand and perform the sequence of meditation. Dhyan is not easy. You just sit down with your crossed legs and then put your hands in your lap and close your eyes. That's not dhyan. First of all, you have to have diminished thoughts. And in order to achieve that, you have to be devoid of attachments, the thoughts of attachments and aversions and ego. As a result, you're going towards the purity of yourself. And after that, you become still. You become completely still. And that you can achieve at that time, the meditative pose or a state of mind. It is the state when the mind goes beyond all the impure thoughts and is intensely concentrated on just one thing. Such concentration can last up to an antarmurhat, which means less than 48 minutes. That's why our samayik is for 48 minutes. That's why the omniscient gets Keval Gnan in 48 minutes. 48 minutes is the period of time which is so important. If you can concentrate yourself, if you can sit still for 48 minutes without any thoughts, you attain Kevalnan. And in order to achieve or attain Samyak Darshan, you also need 48 minutes. In fact, less than 48 minutes. Once the mind becomes still, the seeker gets a glimpse of the pure attributes within. And thereafter, those attributes mesmerize the seeker to such an extent that the realization of those attributes becomes the only goal. And you try to find out where these attributes are coming from. Who is emanating these attributes? Where does it belong? And you go on seeking that inner, inward, and ultimately you reach your own self. Pure, all-knowing self. That's the achievement of meditation. It's the journey. It's the journey which is going within yourself. Nothing in the world that you need to achieve or you want to achieve. You just want to achieve your own self. And then when you meditate, this is your goal. I need to get to my own self, where it is. And you achieve that. There are 4 hurdles in order to, in this journey. You have to understand that and you have to pass through that. First, it's called Abadha no karma, which means all the things that you belongs to you, all the external things, everything that belongs to you, everything that you come across in your life, your family, your money, your house, your things, those are called Abadha no karma. And the second, so you have to you have to pass through that. Those are not yourself. The second one is Baddha no karma. That's your body. You have to go through that too. And the third one is Dravya karma. That is like Gnanavani, Darshanavani, Mohaniya. Those are the karma. That's the obstacles. And lastly, the most important one is the bhav karma. So these are all 4 hurdles or obstacles you have to pass through in order to get to your own self. Bhav karma means attachment, aversions, ego. If you pass through all these 4 hurdles successfully, you achieve your goal. You achieve your self-realization. You achieve your samyak darshan. You achieve the first step towards liberation, first step towards moksha, called samyak darshan. Once the mind becomes still, the seeker gets a glimpse of the pure attributes within, and thereafter those attributes mesmerize the seeker to such an extent that the realization of those attributes becomes the only goal. I just want to achieve that, that's it. I don't want anything else in the world. When you say that I don't want anything else in the world, the only thing that I want is this, myself. I want to realize myself. In the devotional ode to Bhagavan Sitalnath, Mahopadhyaya Yashovijayaji talks about how the duration of this experience of the touch of Lord's attributes can be extended. ज्योत सु ज्योत मिलत जब ध्यावे होवत नहीं तब न्यारा. When your spiritual light touches the Supreme Being, the Lord's, Tirthankar's light, the Jyot, then you are not separate from the Lord. You are part of the Lord. You become Lord. You become Bhagavan. Meditate on the luminous Lord, Jyot, and his attributes by becoming luminous yourself. In order to become luminous, you have to pass through these 4 hurdles. Then you will see your own Jyot, your luminous self, which is very much like Lord, means Tirthankar, Bhagavan. In this state of meditation, you can have a prolonged experience of the touch of the Lord or his attributes. There is just one condition. The seeker needs to become luminous. For that, he has to pass through these 4 hurdles. You know, in the Olympics, there is a hurdles jumper. They jump over hurdles. We have to do that in order to achieve this also. A seeker may hear discourses on the Lord or may read scriptures about him, but in all of this, words act as a medium only. Remember that. They are not going to achieve for you. You have to achieve yourself. They are just a means. They are just a help to achieve. Words by themselves, however, are external physical matter. Without the radiance of knowledge, these words and knowledge is different. Information and knowledge is totally different. You can get information from anywhere and everywhere. Knowledge, you only get it from Guru. Remember that. And that knowledge, Guru also merely becomes the instrument in getting it out of your own soul. Guru cannot give you knowledge, Bhagavan cannot give you knowledge. He can facilitate so that you, on your own, following the path prescribed and proscribed by the Supreme Being, you achieve your own knowledge. You have to achieve the knowledge yourself. Nobody can give you knowledge. And nobody can make you have the knowledge. You have to have that inner wish to get that knowledge, to have that knowledge, to seek the knowledge, to be that knowledge. That's what you are, all knowing. Knowledge is your real existence. Knowledge is real you. Right now, it is all covered and mixed with all the other impurities. Existing in the domain of non-luminosity, how can one experience the luminous through the non-luminous? Darkness cannot. Where there is a darkness, there is no light. And where there is light, darkness cannot exist. Darkness cannot give you light. You have to remove darkness by light. So light removes darkness. And if you are trying to get light by increasing your darkness, you will never be able to get that. You cannot be successful. In the same vein, one may think about Lord's attributes, may contemplate on them, but if concentration is not achieved, what happens is that for some moments, the seeker is thinking about those attributes, while in other moments, he is distracted by thoughts laced with attachments and aversions. Everybody's experienced this. The contemplation is thus interspersed with impure thoughts, and there is no coherence. You need to have coherence. You need to have continuity. Such scattered thoughts, which arise in a mind that has not achieved concentration, are non-luminous. And non-luminous means darkness. Even if they pertain to the Lord, hence they cannot become instrumental in connecting with the luminous. You cannot connect with the Paramatma, cannot connect with the Lord, cannot connect with Tirthankar Paramatma or Sadguru with this kind of state of mind or state of thoughts that you have, state of existence that you have. First of all, you have to be pure. Yes, words or thoughts that lead to experience can become instruments in attain that luminous state. Yes, that can become instruments. Sadhan, means to achieve, but not themselves the achievements. But one must not stop there and be content with these words or the scattered thoughts. They both must be channelized towards achieving the end goal of self-realization. You cannot stop, you will not stop until you reach self-realization. Let us recall the required condition once again. As seekers means sadhaka, we can be one with the luminous only if we are luminous ourselves. ज्योत सुजोत मिले जब ध्यावत. Jyot means luminous. Our luminous, our Jyot, Atma Jyot, Paramatmani Jyot. You want to be one with them, one with the Paramatma, in order to become Paramatma. When the mind becomes singularly focused on the Lord's attributes, here the word singularly is very important. Nothing else in my life is important than this. A wave of those very attributes will arise within, inside us. The seeker will then come to the realization that he has in store the same attribute of equanimity that the Lord has. That is the state of equanimity that we need to achieve. In order to achieve that, you have to get rid of your aversions and attributes, and attachments and ego. Because aversions and attachments emanates from ego. So if you control your ego, you can control your aversion and attachments. The feeling of rag and dvesh. Although in a very nascent form which is yet to manifest itself. That equanimity is in here, but it is in a nascent form. That means it is now not awakened. It's in the dark. It's in the state where we cannot feel it. We cannot experience it. Now we want to experience that. So that means it needs to be manifest. When it is manifest, when it is manifested, then you can experience it, you can feel it. A yearning will spring forth. This yearning does most of the job. A person who wants to attain self-realization, the first thing that person needs is yearning. Nothing but that. No other thing in the world can attract him but this, an yearning of self-realization, an yearning of equanimity that is all in there, which needs to come out. With the grace of the Lord, why can't this attribute manifest within me? That's the yearning a seeker has to have. Unless and until we have this profound yearning, it is very difficult to achieve and manifest our own equanimity. That's the attribute which is the foundation of self-realization or samyak darshan. There is no way it can't. It can always, if you seek, if you practice, if you do it with 100% effort, you can achieve it. It will undoubtedly manifest. There is no doubt at all that it won't manifest. And lo, a small stream of equanimity begins to flow. That's all we need. A small flow of equanimity emanating from your own heart, from your own soul, from your own self. And that becomes now bigger and bigger and bigger, and ultimately it reaches the ocean of equanimity, which is the Lord of Tirthankar. The Lord is like an ocean of equanimity, and the seeker's consciousness, absorbed in the contemplation of this attribute, is like a small stream of equanimity. If you achieve this, you can achieve the self-realization or samyak darshan. The stream merges with the ocean, resulting in a non-dual union, where the stream no longer retains its individual identity, which means you are one with the Lord. See how easy it is? It's not difficult. It is worth noting that only a stream or a river can merge with the ocean. No matter how many pebbles are thrown into the ocean, they will never become one with the ocean. And this is what we are doing by doing all sorts of things in the name of religion, in the name of Adhyatma, in the name of spirituality. This is because a stream or a river loses its distinct identity. We want to preserve our identity. And that's why we cannot mix with the Lord. Although the attributes of the Lord, attributes of the Supreme Being, the attributes of the Tirthankar, attributes of the Aryan Paramatma, and our attributes are the same. We are of the same nature, same family. This is because the stream or the river loses its distinct identity and becomes one with the ocean. The moment it touches the ocean, it becomes suffused with ocean. It doesn't require any more moments. This oneness is what Anand Ganji calls Dhatu Milap. There is a stavana, union of elements in the first seven, Rishabhdev Bhagavan seven, Anand Ganji Maharaj. The fundamental elements that constitute the fabric of the Lord are the various attributes such as equanimity, etc. When any such attribute even partially blooms within the seeker, it unites with the attribute of the Lord. This is so important. Even a partial anshe Ranjan Dhatu Milap. Anand Ganji Maharaj is saying that I want that. My own self, my own attribute, I want in such a way that it can become one with the Tirthankar Paramatma and become one. Thus, the seeker experiences oneness with the Lord in the moments when equanimity is experienced within. This is indeed his samapatti. This is the type of dhyan, samapatti dhyan. Meditative situation where we are one with the Lord. It is in the moments of stillness of mind, in the moments of deep concentration, that the seeker experiences this touch of the attributes of the Lord. Why can we not touch it now? Because we are so impure that we cannot touch the purity of the Lord. So you become pure, the pure mix with pure. This experience is beyond words. You cannot explain, you have to experience. One can experience it, but cannot express it. You cannot even express at that time what happens. The joy that you feel, the contentment that you feel, the satisfaction that you feel, you cannot be expressed in words. It's beyond words. Words fall short to describe it. જે પદ શ્રી સર્વજ્ઞ દીઠું જ્ઞાનમાં કહી શક્યા નહીં તે પણ શ્રી ભગવાન જો. You just experience. You cannot say it with words. Words cannot describe. If somebody has never tasted any sweet thing, you give them a sweet thing and ask him, describe. How is he going to describe that? And even if he describes, will you be able to grasp how it feels or how it tastes? No. Then what will you do? You yourself take that thing and you put it in your mouth, you taste it, and then you say, yes, this is how it tastes. This is the called experience. Experience the self. So Mahapadhyaya Yashovijaji has therefore said, जिन्हें पाया तिन्हीं छिपाया न कहे को के कान में. The one who has achieved, he cannot say it, he cannot describe it. तारी लगी जब अनुभव की तब समझे सौसानमा. That means when you become one with the Lord and experience that oneness, and somebody asks you, hey, how do you feel? Can't express. Sorry. You experience. Here it is. Sadhguru tells us, here it is. Take it, experience it, and see how it tastes. But après, we are so adamant. We say, no, Gurudev. ये हमारी बश का काम नहीं है. I cannot do it. And the Guru says, okay. Be your way. Go your way. Can't help you. Even Guru cannot help us. Even Bhagwan cannot help us if we are not ready to experience. So first of all, be ready to experience. And in order to be ready, you have to cross 4 bridges. Once you cross those 4 bridges, you are ready to experience. The one who has attained it is unable to speak about it to the others. But when others get a first-hand experience of this absorption in the self, they understand it all. Even if a realized person were to describe this experience in words, listeners would not be able to comprehend. पता ही नहीं लगेगा. Can't even understand. What is this garbled language that he is using? I can't even make out one word after it. You won't understand. Would not be able to comprehend the true essence of those words until they at least had a fleeting experience themselves. Fleeting, just a moment. Jyot Jyotasya Jyot Milat जब ध्यावे होवत nahi tab न्यारा. You become one. That's the result of meditation, what you are learning today from this experience. Samapati is to experience a touch of the luminous Lord by becoming luminous ourselves. Those moments of luminosity, of being one with the attributes of the Lord, are indeed divinely joyful. We can express by certain words, but there is limitation to the words. We can only express, we can only make it legible, understandable to some extent, but not completely. You have a question, Pradipbhai?
I had a proposal for your consideration. You made the video yesterday or audio to practice dhyan at home for Charan.
Yeah.
I was hoping they could do that tonight on their own before the next class.
Yeah.
So if we can divert a little bit, and if you could explain that enough so they can use it tonight,
Okay.
just a proposal.
Yeah. You see, the thing is that video is okay. Anybody who wants to do that, they can do it by that. The difficulty is that if you don't have the background, then I think it will be extremely difficult to
Right.
follow.
અડધો કલાકમાં જે background લેવું કે નહીં એનો પ્રશ્ન છે.
So I can give you the background. So this is what I'm doing actually.
Okay.
If you don't understand this background,
Yeah.
and you
Then stay on course.
No, you will sit there, you will follow that, but you will not achieve anything.
Right. So just stay on your course.
Yeah. But I want to know at the end of this session, before we go into the tomorrow's session, I want to know some reflections, some questions from the people who have been listening to this, that is it helping them understand? Number one. Number two, will they be able to do it on their own? And number three, would they need any help in achieving that? Just by listening to the video or just by listening to the audio, probably that may not be enough for them. So I want to know.
It has to be, you have to prepare them for it.
Right. So this is the background.
Yeah. But at this course, we won't get that till tomorrow. It comes in the chapter 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have chapter 4 is on that, right?
Chapter 3. It refers to it in chapter 3. Points to the appendix 5.
No, chapter 3 is the 4 steps.
Yes.
So that, if I can finish this chapter number 2, you will have some background.
Okay.
And then when I start the chapter 3, that will give the practical.
Okay.
Yeah?
Yes.
Does it sound okay?
Yes.
I think we are just coming about to the end of the chapter 2.
I think there are several pages still left.
No. Only 1 page.
Okay.
2 pages. Then you get the Bhava Pranayam, Bhashya Jap, Manas Jap, and Dhyan.
Yes.
So it's okay.
Okay.
It should be okay.
Yeah, if we can get him practicing tonight, somehow that'll be helpful.
Yeah, we'll be able to do it.
Okay.
We have half an hour.
Okay.
Okay, so where were we? Yeah. This touch of the Lord can be experienced either by experiencing his attributes or by experiencing his very form. What is the very form of the Lord? It is unfragmented and unstained consciousness. Our consciousness is fragmented and stained. So we need to understand that. By engaging the mind intently and steadfastly in the activities of the soul or the pious activities that are means towards self realization. Now, if you don't understand that, how are you going to go into meditative state? There is no way you can achieve meditation. First of all, understand this thing. You need to be pure. You need to be able to understand what is impurities, which is stopping you from getting yourself experienced. Yo. The seeker can experience the Lord in his pure, essential form. One may one may have experienced this. Say a devotional program was organized early in the morning from 5 a.m. to 8 a.m. and coming out of it, the seeker was drenched in devotion. This happens. Say the organizers had invited all attendees for breakfast. Say they are served some lousy food and cold tea. That's going to affect you, right? Huh? And the seeker lost cool. Why? This is what I'm trying to tell you. You cannot jump to the dhyan unless and until you understand this part. Why does this happen? A mere cup of tea washed away all the devotion of those 3 hours? Haven't we experienced this? Time and again? And then we want to do meditation and achieve self-realization? What really happened here? Here is where we will understand the value of concentration. While the program was going on, the conscious mind was submerged in devotion. There are 4 levels of mind, or existence rather. But the unconscious mind was brimming with thoughts of attachments and aversions. Therefore, the devotion of those 3 hours was washed away in that single moment of anguish. And we fail. We fail again and again. The seeker could have avoided this by thinking, I can have the tea at home too, but how can I forget the sublimely divine experience I have just had? But you forget. You've forgotten because it didn't even go into it. It remained on your conscious level. There is another level of subconscious. Then there is another level of unconscious. And then there is a level of existence. So whatever you are doing, it has to go through these 4 levels in order to achieve or in order to reach your own existence. That's where all the impurities are over the period of time immemorial. That's where you need to get the impurities out of that and become pure. Unless and until you do that, no matter how many times you meditate, it's not going to work. How many samayik you do, how many pratikraman you do, how many puja bhakti you do, how many tap jap you do, if it doesn't go into your existence level, nothing is going to work. Because the impurities are embedded in there. See? Truth be told, one's immersion in devotion should be so intense that under its effect, one should have no recollection of how the tea tasted. Bolo. Can you say that? So what happened in the case was that the devotion was experienced at the level of conscious mind, but the unconscious mind continued to be replete with impure thoughts. The singular focus of the mind was missing. And thus, those golden moments of devotion slipped through the hands. It will not be enough if the conscious or the superficial mind, Puja Sunandaben always used to say that our dharma stays at the superficial level. Sapati upar. Participates in devotion or spiritual practice, the inner or the unconscious mind also needs to be involved. The seeker needs to take the spiritual practices to the deepest level of the mind where attachments, aversion, and ego abound. The spiritual practices need to touch the core of the being. And for that, meditation is imperative. Profound concentration is necessary. During these moments of profound concentration, the seeker gets drawn towards the Lord's attributes and his very nature. And once this affinity for the Lord is born, it never goes away. But that is never born. It never happens in our sadhana. It is in this spirit that Mahapadhyaya Yashovaji says, Mere Prabhu Su Pragatyo Purana Rag, which means my rag, my attachment is complete and total, unconditional with my Lord, with my Prabhu, with my Tirthankar Bhagwan, my Guru. Not one cent of that rag or that attachment is for anybody else or anything else. Yes, then you can achieve the goal of self-realization. Mere Prabhu Su Pragatyo Purana Rag, Purana, total, unconditional. What does Puran Rag, absolute love for the Lord mean? It is the love from the core of one's being, from my existence, level of existence. It means loving the Lord with totality of our existence and only loving Him, nobody else, none, no object, no person, nothing. You want to meditate? You want meditation? You want to go inside to achieve your self-realization? We have chapter 3 for that. But have this thing first. If the seeker loves the Lord and also loves other things or people at the same time, then love for Him is not absolute. That's the reason why we cannot and we will not achieve self-realization no matter how much you try, how much you do. Attachment for even one thing other than the Lord is going to tear apart the absolute nature of this love. Difficult, है? बहुत बहुत मुश्किल है. समापत्तिर ध्यानात् स्पर्शना. When you become one with Lord, it means you touch the attributes of Lord with your own attribute. Such a profound sutra. We will remain greatly indebted to Acharya Haribhadra Surya ji. That concludes Sutra number 2. Now we come to Sutra number 3, which is the practical aspect of meditation. But in order to practice this, we need to perform this chapter 2 and understand this chapter 2, whatever they have guided us so far. Okay, I hope you understand that.
Yes.
Yoga Shastra is Kalikal Sarvagna Hemchandracharya. Wrote that 900 years ago, almost 1,000 years ago. And let me give you the importance of that. That Yoga Shastra. When Kalapursri Dada was at the end of his life, almost, and he knew that he was not going to survive, he asked his disciples to recite 12th Prakash of Yoga Shastra. That much how much importance Yoga Shastra is. The Yoga Shastra, that Yoga Shastra's slok is here given. This is a very profound sutra, very important sutra, very important, very, very profound, and very, very, very valuable. If you want to achieve dhyan, if you want to achieve self-realization, Yoga Shastra is the Granth, which is very important. But not everybody can study that. And you should never study that without the guidance of a guru. So the slok is this. Samatva dhyanam yogi samashrayet vina samatva marabde dhyane swatma vidambyate. This is a profound statement. Yogi samatva आलंबन लईने ध्यान ने प्राप्त करे. Samatva, equanimity. Without that, dhyan is not possible. Samatva vinanu dhyan shirite hoy shake. How can it be? Without equanimity, how can it be a meditation? Eto che atma pratarana. That means you're merely playing with the word. That's it. You're merely playing. You're not serious about it. Vidamna છે vidamna. જો પછી બીજો મંત્ર છે અરિયંતાદિક શુદ્ધાત્મા તેહનું ધ્યાન કરો મહાત્મા કર્મ કલંક જેમ દૂરી જાય શુદ્ધાત્મ ધ્યાને સુખદાય. હવે જો now look at the meaning of that. A yogi takes the assistance of equanimity. Now equanimity samatva to attain the state of meditation. There can be no meditation without equanimity. Meditation without equanimity is just deceiving yourself. Patanjali, the great yogi, defines dhyan as chitta nirodha dhyan. That means the stability and concentration of mind on one subject is called dhyan, according to Patanjali. He was a Mahan yogi. Whereas Jain dhyan Jain dhyan is defined like चित्तनी निर्मलता ये ध्यान છે. So no impurity in your mind. So pure mind is only the vehicle of dhyan. There's a vast difference between these two. The equanimity produces that mind which is nirmal, which means pure. Look. Meditate upon the pure, blemish-free, Niranjan. Blemish-free is Niranjan. Pure is Shuddha. Such as that of the Arihant, Siddha, etc. Through this meditation, as the karmic defilements are progressively eradicated, the bliss of the self is increasingly experienced. You understand this? Look. Now the chapter 3, which is the 4 steps in the process of meditation. These 4 steps, I think we have recorded in both. One is by Gurudev in Gujarati,
Yes.
and now it is also been recorded as in English, and I think it has been posted in the group.
Yes.
Am I correct? Yes.
Yes.
And here it is also given in English. So I'm going to read this thing through and try to explain what it means. And if you want to practice today, I don't know whether you will be in a position to practice or not, or a state of mind to practice or not. But if you want to practice for half an hour, it only takes 30 minutes. You are welcome to do that by following these steps. So the spiritual process for attaining self-realization comprises of 4 steps as follows. So in order to achieve self-realization, Atma Gnan, Samyak Darshan, you need to follow these 4 steps. The first, Bhav Pranayam. Pranayam at the spiritual level. That you need to do it for 10 minutes. we'll go into detail later on. Then comes Bhashya jap, which means chanting aloud for 2 minutes. Then Manas jap, mental chanting, that for 8 minutes. And then meditation, dhyan, for 10 minutes. If you allocate a mere 30 minutes, union with the Supreme Soul could be possible. Every day, do it for 30 minutes and you can achieve it. But that 30 minutes has to be preceded by what we discussed in the 2 chapters before. If you do not achieve that, if you do not practice that, if you do not have that as a background or as a foundation, then it is very difficult to achieve dhyan. Let's first understand these steps and then internalize them in a practical way. First step, bhava pranayam. To only regulate the breath is pranayam at the physical level. You're regulating your breathing. Because by regulating your breathing, you're regulating your thoughts, your mind. Just give an example. If you are in a state of anger, you are going to breathe very fast. If you are in a state of calmness, you breathe very slowly. So then itself it says that breathing is so important. We do not breathe deeply. We breathe very shallow. So deep breathing is extremely important. To only regulate the breath is pranayam at the physical level. Acharya Haribhata Suriji in his scripture, Yoga Drishti Samuchaya, however, talks about adding an element of spirituality to pranayam. He calls it bhava pranayam. Mahapati Yashoji in his work Art Drishti Nisajjaya, which can be considered a Gujarati version of Yoga Drishti Samuchaya, elaborates on this and says, during exhalation, it's called rechak. You are throwing your breath out. When you let go of anger or any impurities within you as you release your breath, it is called bhav rechak. Rechak, rechak means when you have constipation, you take those things, it's called rechak. Rech. So all the impurities goes out of your body. That's how you do this. When you throw out your breath, when you exhale, you throw out all your anger, all your impurities, all your ego. While inhaling, which is called purak, you're inhaling. When you take in the subtle vibrations of equanimity, surrounding you, it is called bhav purak. You're taking in equanimity, taking out and throwing out all your impurities. Such vibrations of equanimity have been released by great souls, which is surrounding you, and pervade the entire atmosphere. And that you're taking it in. So you also become pious. Thus, bhava pranayam involves releasing anger and other impurities and taking in subtle vibrations of equanimity. Firm resolve plays an important role in bringing about the desired result of bhava pranayam. Not just, okay, I've been told to do this 30 minutes, let me do it for 30 minutes and done with it. No, this is the life and death thing. Firm resolve, sankalp karo. To understand this, it will be interesting to learn about an experiment recommended by psychologists. The goal of the experiment is to be able to receive positive vibrations. Even today, all the psychoanalysts recommend this. Abundant amount of positive and negative energy around us. Whether you believe or not, this is true. How does one target to receive just the positive energy? In order to receive the positive energy, the recommended approach is to make a firm resolve to feel happy. Sankalp. Without any reason. You don't need a reason to be happy. Because happiness is your own nature. For 5 minutes, you think that for 5 minutes I'm going to be happy no matter what. The resulting state will transform the mind into a magnet attracting the positive energy. On the other hand, if one becomes anguished or restless for those few moments, the resulting state of mind will attract negative energy. Now this is science. Okay, modern science. It works much the same in our case too. With an erect body posture and closed eyes, we instruct or auto-suggest the mind that with every exhalation, anger and all the impurities should go out, and with every inhalation, equanimity should enter within. If we do this repeatedly and consciously for a minute or two, it will start happening effortlessly thereafter. Now, this is the important part. It has to become effortless. That's what Krishnamurti says. Your existence itself should be choiceless and effortless. Choiceless means I like this and I don't like this. That's called choice. No choices. Choiceless existence and effortless, sahaj. Whatever comes, accept it. Here, inhalation and exhalation happen without you making a conscious effort. It is important to note that it is not you who is inhaling or exhaling. It is the mechanism of the body that does it. See? So you are now detaching yourself from your inhalation and exhalation, your breathing. You're merely watching your breathing. In Vipassana, there's a Bauddhic meditation system. They tell you to watch your breath, and they tell you to watch here. So you are not breathing. You are merely watching the breathing. This is what it is here. You are merely an observer, observing the process of breathing. So now from there, you are going towards being merely an observer, like watcher on the wheel. You become the watcher on the hill, merely observing what's going on below the hill. 10 minutes of this process will make your mind lighter and relaxed. This is what you do in 10 minutes. Okay? This second step. Now comes the second step. This entails chanting aloud in a slightly loud voice, such that the words of the chant collide with the ears. That means that you should hear what you are saying. So that that will increase your concentration. So the mantra is Tittayarame Pasyantu. Now that you say it aloud. That's called Bhashya Jap. Given to us by the Gandhar Bhagavant is to be chanted aloud for 2 minutes. Just for 2 minutes you do this. See, you should hear those words and nothing else. What does the activity of chanting accomplish? Two things are accomplished by the sound. Acoustic aspect of the mantra made by this chanting, it reduces the speed and intensity of thoughts laced with attachment and aversion. Because when you are listening to that mantra, you are not thinking about anything else. And it provides a base for our spiritual practice, the foundation. When the sound made by the syllables of the mantra collides with the ears, thoughts begin to reduce. This sound acts like a speed breaker that reduces the intensity and non-stop chain of thoughts. So you can reduce the intensity and the chain of thoughts by listening to the mantra for 2 minutes. Right? Okay, now the sound will also provide a base for the spiritual practice. The Pakshik Sutra, when you do your Pratikraman every fortnight, has a group of words that are to be repeated during the recitation of each of the Mahavratas. When you are doing Vanditu Sutra, same thing. Tan nindi chante garihami, tan nindi chante garihami. How many times you repeat? The effect of that repetition is same. You hear that and your thought wither away. Why is it that? The words are repeated because the mental readiness required for acceptance and implementation of the first Mahavrata is the same as that required for the second. Thus, by repeating the same group of words and thus the sound every time, it is ensured that the base required for acceptance and implementation of each of these Mahavrata is ready. Now your foundation is ready. Here we are considering only one mantra, Tittayarame Pasyantu. This mantra is to be chanted aloud for 2 minutes. If there is a group of seekers chanting aloud together, the entire atmosphere will change due to their harmonious chant. The mantra Tittayarame Pasyantu says, O Lord, shower me with your grace, for I cannot walk even a step on the spiritual path without your grace. So we are seeking the grace and blessing of our Lord. Along the same lines, Mahopadhyaya Yashovijaji has said, Tu gati tu mati. You are the one for me, and now I want to become for you. This means, O Lord, you alone propel us on the spiritual path. Without your grace, we cannot move an inch or even a centimeter on this path. And now comes the third step. I know the time is up, but let me finish this. So you can practice this at night. In this step, the same mantra is to be chanted mentally for 8 minutes. Now when you do this mentally, you must be able to hear that, like you heard when you were doing it loudly. Now you are doing it with a mental job. Now, when you are doing it mentally, you should hear that. Mental chanting is also a unique procedure. The mind that was until now wandering across the length and breadth of the universe, uninhibited, is now pegged to this mantra. That in itself is a huge achievement. The mind whose activity was to constantly traverse anywhere and everywhere is now stabilized in the words of this single mantra. It is worth noting that concentration in mantra, although a significant accomplishment, is just an intermediate step. It is, however, an important factor in attaining the end goal. This intermediate step is called sadhana ekagrata. This is your sadhana, but you are now completely concentrated on this sadhana. So your mind is not wavering, your mind is not going here and there, your mind is now focused on one thing, and one thing is that mantra. The end goal is absorption in the self or its attributes. Either you absorb yourself or into your attributes, your guna. This can be experienced in the fourth step, which is the most important and the last step, which is called dhyan. It is called sadhya ekagrata. That means whatever you need to achieve, you are now concentrating on that achievement. This was so far the means to achieve. So you were concentrating on the means to achieve the goal. Now you're concentrating on the goal. Whatever you want to achieve, you're concentrating on that. That's called the sadhya ekagrata. Sadhya ekagrata is attained when there is complete immersion in the self. But how will the mind immerse itself directly in the self when it is not already immersed in any pious means? You see? So you need to, a means has to be pious in order to be submerged, immersed in the pious self. So you become pure. And the pure sadhan or the means will achieve the end result, which is also pure. This 8-minute procedure of mental chanting is a critical step in setting the right foundation to enter into a meditative state. You must become so immersed in the mantra chant that your mind is nowhere else but in the mantra. And in case a thought arises, you must immediately become aware of it. You must drive it away and realign your concentration in the chanting. You can perhaps take a deep breath or chant the mantra aloud and again weave yourself back into the process of mental chanting. This is the process, this is the danger, and this is the solution for it. The fourth step is dhyan. In the fourth step, chanting is dropped because chanting is still a type of swadhyaya. And we want to go from swadhyaya to dhyan. So dhyan is the 11th step. Swadhyaya is the 10th step. Whereas you need to go beyond it towards the state of meditation, which is called dhyan. The concentration attained in the third step through mental chanting should be channelized to flow into the experience of the attributes of the self. At this point in the process, there are no words and no thoughts. All you have is deep concentration. The subtle waves of equanimity flowing within are experienced on the foundation of this deep concentration. The subtle waves of equanimity have constantly been flowing within because equanimity is an intrinsic attribute of the self. Remember that. Equanimity doesn't come from outside. It is achieved from within. It was not experienced thus far because the mind was engaged in likes, attachments, and dislikes, aversions due to your ego. These feelings of attachments, aversion, ego, etc. are impure emotions. They are mutually exclusive with the attributes of the self. That's why you will not able to achieve the self-realization. Thus, when the mind is rife with such impure emotions, it cannot go within the self. These impurities are the source from which thoughts laced with attachments and aversions arise. These thoughts, in turn, strengthen these impurities, thus forming a vicious circle. Mental chanting helps break the cycle by reducing these thoughts, thus diminishing the underlying impurities. So basically, impurities has to be removed, and these are the steps you can take for that. And from this foundation state of reduced impurities, a seeker is able to slide into equanimity. The word is slide. Dhyan, you cannot do it. You have to slide into it. Okay? So doing and dhyan are both opposite. Seeker now sits with a quiet and peaceful mind for 10 minutes and experiences the equanimity within. A deluge of divine bliss embraces the heart. The seeker feels, oh, such a divine bliss lay within me, whereas I was scrambling for paltry pieces of happiness, searching for it outside in external things. In the initial period of practice, one will experience the peace that arising due to the absence of thoughts, laced with attachments and aversions. But this peace is not that of the self per se. With increased practice, one will experience peace that is intrinsic to the self. In the absence of equanimity, waves of agitation arise within. Perhaps in its presence, divine waves of peace arise. May you experience that. Now this is how we achieve that. Now we practice that. અને પછી આમાં જે આપ્યા છે જે 3-4 પેરેગ્રાફ એ વાંચી અને then you start the practice which is given to you in the tape. Okay? So summarize the process. Bhav pranayam 10 minutes, Bhasya jap 2 minutes, Manas jap 8 minutes, and Dhyan 10 minutes. Remember, this divine bliss has always been within you, but why were you not able to experience it thus far? Just read it and master it. Okay? Chala. I will keep it this one at this stage, and then tomorrow we will go into detail about the whole process. Chalo. Sarva Mangal Mangalyam Sarva Kalyana Karanam Pradhanam Sarva Dharmanam Jainam Jayati Sahasranam. Sadhguru Dev ki Mahavir Swami Bhagavan ki Jai. Jai Jirendra. What are we doing now?
તો આજે તમારી અનુકૂળતા કેવી છે? બધાને સાથે ઇન્ડિવિજ્યુઅલી વાત કરવી છે કે કાર પર રાખવું છે?
મને કોઈ વાંધો નથી.
ઓકે, તો જેને ઉતાવળ હોય પહેલા હાથ ઊંચો કરજો, બાકી બધા મ્યુટ રહેજો એટલે અમને તકલીફ ઓછી થાય. સો પ્લીઝ એન્ડ ધેન મહેશભાઈ.
Yes.
હાજી.
Elaben.
Oh, let me take off the spotting. Okay.
11.
Jai Jirendra Ila.
Oh, wait a minute. We muted, hard muted everybody. Let me take care of that. Forgot about that.
તો ના તું મ્યુટ છે. ઈલા
અમારે
Elaben, I the mute. You need to unmute yourself.
Okay.
Girishbhai, did you?
જય જીનેન્દ્ર, ગિરીશભાઈ પગે લાગુ છું.
ગિરીશભાઈ તમે મ્યુટ છો.
ઓકે. જય જિનેન્દ્ર લીલા. સોરી.
જય જીનેન્દ્ર ગિરીશભાઈ, પગે લાગુ છું.
જય જિનેન્દ્ર. જય
ખૂબ
જિનેન્દ્ર.
ખૂબ અનુમોદના. થેન્ક યુ.
તેજસભાઈ
પ્રણામ ગિરીશભાઈ, શાતામાં છો?
દેવકૃપા સાહેબ.
પગે લાગુ છું. ખૂબ ખૂબ અનુમોદના. થેન્ક યુ.
તરુબેન
જય જીનેન્દ્ર, પ્રણામ ગિરીશભાઈ, ખૂબ
જય
ખૂબ
જીનેન્દ્ર.
જ આનંદ થયો. થેન્ક યુ.
સારું સારું.
દીનાબેન
જય
જય
જિનેન્દ્ર.
જીનેન્દ્ર ગિરીશભાઈ, પાય લાગુ છું.
તબિયત સારી છે હવે?
હા, સારું છે.
સારું,
થેન્ક
good.
યુ. તમે સાતામાં છો ને? સાતામાં રહેજો.
શિરીષભાઈ
જય જિનેન્દ્ર શીર્ષભાઈ.
જય જીનેન્દ્ર ગિરીશભાઈ,
બરાબર.
સાતામાં છો ને?
હાજી બરોબર છે.
યા આપણે પુનરાવર્તન થઈ ગયું. ઇંગ્લિશ અને ગુજરાતી સરસ થયું. બહુ સરસ. થેન્ક યુ સો મચ. થેન્ક યુ.
વેલકમ.
સંજયભાઈ પુષ્પાબેન
જય જિનેન્દ્ર પુષ્પાબેન. જય જિનેન્દ્ર મામી.
જય જિનેન્દ્ર ગિરીશભાઈ, ખૂબ ખૂબ અનુમોદના. થેન્ક યુ સો મચ.
બરોબર.
સાતામાં રહેજો. પાય લાગુ
હાજી
છું.
હાજી હાજી.
શાંતિભાઈ રાજુભાઈ
જય જિનેન્દ્ર શાંતિભાઈ.
જય જીનેન્દ્ર ગિરીશભાઈ.
જય જિનેન્દ્ર.
ગિરીશભાઈ મીઠામી દુકલામ આગા પાછળ જતું હતું. ઘરમાં બધા બહુ બધા હતા.
હા, તબિયત સારી છે?
બહુ સારી છે ગિરીશભાઈ.
શાંતિભાઈ બરોબર તમે?
યા બરોબર. થેન્ક યુ.
મીનાબેન
જય જિનેન્દ્ર મીના.
Jai Janendra Girishbhai, Jai Janendra. Thank you for doing this. A question about is the 4 levels of consciousness. You say one was subconscious or conscious, unconscious, self-conscious, and existence.
હા, એ કાલે પછી કાલના સવારમાં.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Jai Janendra.
જય જિનેન્દ્ર.
મંજરીબેન
જય
પ્રણામ
જિનેન્દ્ર.
ગિરીશભાઈ.
પ્રણામ ગિરીશભાઈ.
થેન્ક યુ વેરી મચ.
થેન્ક યુ.
કેમ છે આંખે?
સારું છે
સારું
ગિરીશભાઈ.
છે? સારું સારું.
હા,
પ્રણામ.
પ્રણામ.
નિલેશભાઈ
Jai Janendra Girishbhai.
પારસ is there.
No, you are.
Thank you very much for your time.
જય જિનેન્દ્ર નિલેશ.
સાહેબજી મને એક ક્વેશ્ચન હતું કે આ સૂત્ર અને મંત્રમાં શું ફરક છે?
હા, એક ક્વેશ્ચન લખી નથી મોકલી આવ્યો.
ઓકે ઓકે,
આઈ ટેક કેર ઓફ ધ ટુમોરો.
શ્યોર શ્યોર. થેન્ક યુ વેરી મચ ફોર યોર ટાઈમ.
જી.
દક્ષાબેન
દક્ષાબેન કહેતા વિડીયોમાં નહીં આવે.
હેલો, જય જીનેન્દ્ર.
જય જિનેન્દ્ર.
પ્રણામ.
પ્રણામ.
પહેલી વાર મારે લોગિન થયું તમારું, અને મને વોટ્સએપ ગ્રુપમાં એડ કરો તો બહુ સારું. હું સાનોજેથી બોલું છું.
સારું છે દક્ષાબેન ને?
હા.
હાજી હાજી.
તમારો નંબર શું છે બેન?
408
408
307
307
9429.
9429 દક્ષા શાહ. ઓકે.
યા, અને મેં તમને ઈમેલ મોકલેલો છે dakshaashok2000@yahoo.com.
ઓકે.
થેન્ક યુ. ખૂબ ખૂબ અનુમોદના. થેન્ક યુ.
ખાતામાં રહેજો.
હા, તમે બી. થેન્ક યુ.
યોગેશભાઈ શાહ હર્ષાબેન ખોજા
જય જિનેન્દ્ર હર્ષાબેન.
જય જીનેન્દ્ર. પ્રણામ ગિરીશભાઈ, ખૂબ
જી.
ખૂબ આભાર. તબિયત સાચવજો તમારી.
જી.
ભૂપેન્દ્રભાઈ ખાનદાર હસમિત સોરી ગો હેડ ભૂપેન્દ્રભાઈ. ભૂપેન્દ્રભાઈ અનમ્યુટ.
યા, હું કર્યું. ગિરીશભાઈ, જય જીનેન્દ્ર.
જય જીનેન્દ્રભાઈ.
પિટ્સબર્ગ થી બોલું છું.
હા, પિટ્સબર્ગ થી.
હા, પિટ્સબર્ગ પેન્સિલ્વેનિયા.
હાજી હાજી જય
મેં
જિનેન્દ્ર.
આવ્યા હતા, ગુરુદેવ આવ્યા ત્યારે.
હા બરોબર, રાઈટ રાઈટ.
રાઈટ, સરસ, વેરી નાઇસ. અને
ખૂબ
સાતામાં
હા દેવગુર પાસે, બરોબર છે.
ખૂબ ખૂબ અનુમોદના. થેન્ક યુ.
યુ વેલકમ.
હસ્મિતાબેન પરેખ.
બધાના જય.
ગિરીશભાઈ કોઠારે. ઉર્વશીબેન શાહ.
ગિરીશભાઈ, જય જિનેન્દ્ર, વિરેન્દ્ર
વિરેન્દ્રભાઈ
લાગુ છું.
હાજી
કેમ છો?
બસ બરોબર છે બધું.
જય જિનેન્દ્ર.
જય જિનેન્દ્ર.
પ્રીતિબેન. પ્રીતિબેન તમે અનમ્યુટ કરવું પડશે.
જય જિનેન્દ્ર, હું પ્રીતિ બોલું છું. પહેલી વાર આજે જોઈન થઈ છું અને આઈ રિયલી એન્જોયડ ઇટ. મેં મારો નંબર ને બધું મેસેજમાં મોકલ્યું છે. જો મને વોટ્સએપમાં તમે એડ કરી શકો so આઈ કેન જોઈન ઓલ અધર એક્ટિવિટીઝ.
અચ્છા અચ્છા.
આજે બિગિનિંગ હતું એટલે થોડી મારી અન્ડરસ્ટેન્ડિંગ થોડી હજુ ઓછી છે, બટ આઈ વિલ ટ્રાય ટુ કીપ ઇટ અપ.
બીજા જે બધા ઘણા બધા સ્વાધ્યાય મૂક્યા છે લોકોએ, એ તમે જોઈ લેજો.
હા ચોક્કસ.
તમે કોને મેસેજ મોકલ્યો?
હું એમ તો લાઈફ ટાઈમ મેમ્બર છું ટેમ્પલમાં, પણ હમણાં મારા વર્કના સ્કેડ્યુલ પ્રમાણે આવાતું નથી મારાથી બહુ. પણ હવે ધીમે ધીમે હું પાછી જોઈન થવાની કોશિશ કરી રહી છું.
તમે અત્યારે કઈ કામે લાગો છો કે?
હા, હું અત્યારે જોબ પર છું સાહેબ. મારે એવરી અધર વીકેન્ડ જોબ નું હોય છે, પણ હવે તમારું આજ વીકેન્ડ હતું એટલે મેં તો વર્ક ઉપરથી હું જોઈન થઈ આજે.
લાગ્યું બરોબર.
પણ બહુ મજા આવી મને.
અચ્છા અચ્છા, સરસ.
બહુ બહુ અનુમોદના. મને તમે થોડું વોટ્સએપ ગ્રુપમાં એડ કરી દેજો એટલે મને તો ઇન્ફોર્મેશન મળતી રહે.
તમારો ફોન નંબર શું છે બેન?
626
યસ
224
યસ
3988.
626-224-3988.
હા, અને મેં મેસેજમાં તમને મોકલ્યું પણ છે.
એટલે મને મોકલ્યો છે મેસેજ?
મેં હમણાં જ મોકલ્યું આજે જ તમને, લગભગ કલાક પહેલા.
ઓકે, હું જોઈ લઈશ.
હા, થેન્ક યુ વેરી મચ સાહેબ, થેન્ક યુ.
કઈ હોસ્પિટલમાં કામ કરો છો?
હું ચીનોમાં છું, ચીનો મેડિકલ સેન્ટરમાં.
અચ્છા બરોબર.
ડોક્ટર લાગે
છે. ચીનો એટલે આપણે મંદિર, સ્વામી મંદિર.
ગુડ.
અચ્છા, એનએમ લખ્યું છે ઇનિશિયલ બેન.
જય જિનેન્દ્ર, ગિરીશભાઈ, હું મિલપીટસ થી બોલું છું, રંજન બોલું છું. આપની 2 શિબિર મેં અહીંયા એટેન્ડ કરી હતી અને ખૂબ ખૂબ અનુમોદના, ખૂબ ખૂબ અનુમોદના.
કોણ તમે કીધું?
હું રંજન અને મારા હસબન્ડ નું નામ નટવર છે, રંજન અને નટવર શાહ.
અચ્છા અચ્છા અચ્છા.
અને આપની બંને શિબિર અહીંયા મિલપીટસ ટેમ્પલમાં અમે એટેન્ડ કરી હતી.
ઓ અચ્છા અચ્છા અચ્છા, મિલપીટસ.
યા
તમે ત્યાં જ રહો છો મિલપીટસ?
હા, હું અહીંયા છું, માઉન્ટેન વ્યૂ ને પાલો આલ્ટોમાં છું.
સમજી ગયો.
રાઈટ. એટલે આપની ખૂબ ખૂબ અનુમોદના.
થેન્ક યુ.
ખૂબ અનુમોદના.
રમેશભાઈ.
જય જિનેન્દ્ર ગિરીશભાઈ.
જય જિનેન્દ્ર રમેશભાઈ.
પ્રણામ. સાતામાં રહેજો.
જી.
કિરણબેન શાહ. પ્રદીપભાઈ શાહ અનામિસ.
ઘણો ઘણો આભાર ગિરીશભાઈ.
જય જિનેન્દ્રભાઈ, જય જિનેન્દ્ર.
જય જિનેન્દ્ર સાહેબ.
રંજન અને હરિભાઈ રહી ગયા મને.
રંજન હરિભાઈ નથી દેખાતા ગિરીશભાઈ.
હમણાં આવ્યા હતા, પછી ખબર નહીં ક્યાં જતા રહ્યા.
પછી કિરણ શાહ આવી ગયા કે નહીં?
મેં હમણાં જ એમનું નામ કોલ આઉટ કર્યું. ઇઝ નોટ રિસ્પોન્ડિંગ સમહાઉ.
ચાલો વાંધો નહીં.
યા ગિરીશભાઈ યોગેશભાઈ કોઈ રિસ્પોન્ડ કરતું નથી સમો.
હમણાં સુધી જેટલા આવ્યા એ બધાને ગુજરાતી આવડે છે.
યસ.
વેરી ઇન્ટરેસ્ટિંગ.
જય જય ગિરીશભાઈ.
કિરણભાઈ ગો હેડ. કિરણભાઈ અનમ્યુટ થયા છે.
ઓકે.
બોલો કિરણભાઈ.
નથી લાગતા. અનમ્યુટ થયા એ.
કે એમને કે ઓડિયો નહીં ફાવતું હોય કે વિડીયો નહીં ફાવતું હોય.
હમણાં એકાદ શબ્દ બોલ્યા કઈ.
ચાલો વાંધો કાલે વાત.
આવી ગયા બધા.
ભલે ભલે ચાલો ચાલો બસ બધા સાથમાં રહેજો અને બરોબર.
હાજી.
તમે પણ સાથમાં રહેજો.
જી.
જય જીનેન્દ્ર.
પછી કાલે મળીએ.
હાજી.
જય જીનેન્દ્ર. પ્રણામ સર્વેને.
જય
જીનેન્દ્ર સર.
પ્રદીપભાઈ નિલેશભાઈને ગુજરાતી પીડીએફ જોઈએ છે, મોકલી આપશો એમને?
કોને જોઈએ છે?
નિલેશભાઈનો મેસેજ હતો. હી વોન્ટેડ ગુજરાતી પીડીએફ ફોર ધ સેમ સબ્જેક્ટ.
એટલે આપણી પાસે એનો કોન્ટેક્ટ હોય તો ચોક્કસ.
હું તમને પર્સનલી મેસેજ કરું છું પ્રદીપભાઈ.
હા બસ બહુ સરસ.
થેન્ક યુ.
Okay. We'll be back tomorrow morning.
Yes. 10:30.
Thank you very much for organizing.
We are here because you are here. Thank you. Chalo.
Chalo. Jai Jinendra.
Jai Jinendra.